For more than 5 millennia along the banks of the Nile River, one of the most extraordinary civilizations in human history rose, flourished, and ultimately vanished. Ancient Egypt was not merely a kingdom, it was a universe ordered by belief, ritual, power, and an unshakable faith in eternity. At the center of this universe stood the pharaoh, a ruler unlike any the world had ever known. To his people, the pharaoh was not simply a king, he was a living god, the embodiment of divine will on earth, responsible for maintaining cosmic balance between chaos and order. This belief system allowed Egypt to endure longer than almost any other civilization, surviving for nearly 5,000 years while empires around it rose and fell into dust. The origins of the pharaohs trace back to around 3100 BCE, when Egypt was divided into two rival lands, Upper Egypt in the south and Lower Egypt in the north. According to both archaeological evidence and ancient tradition, a ruler known as Narmer, often identified with the legendary Menes, united these two regions into a single kingdom. This unification was not merely political, it was spiritual. The pharaoh became the guardian of Ma'at, the sacred principle of balance, justice, and harmony that governed the universe itself. From that moment onward, Egypt's survival depended on the pharaoh's ability to maintain order against the forces of chaos, both human and divine. This belief elevated the ruler beyond mortality and laid the foundation for an absolute monarchy that would last thousands of years. As Egypt entered the Old Kingdom, roughly between 2686 and 2181 BCE, the power of the pharaoh reached its most iconic expression, the pyramids. This era witnessed a transformation in architecture, religion, and royal authority. Pharaohs such as Djoser and Khufu commanded immense resources to construct monumental tombs designed to guarantee eternal life. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built for Khufu, remains one of the most astonishing achievements in human engineering. It was not built simply as a grave, but as a cosmic machine, aligned with stars, infused with religious symbolism, and intended to guide the pharaoh's soul into the afterlife. These structures were expressions of supreme authority, reflecting a society willing to dedicate decades of labor to ensure its rulers' immortality. Contrary to popular myth, the pyramids were not built by slaves, but by skilled laborers, engineers, and craftsmen who believed their work served a sacred purpose. Yet this immense concentration of power came at a cost. Over time, the economic strain of monumental construction and the growing influence of regional governors weakened the central authority. When the Old Kingdom collapsed, Egypt entered a period of political fragmentation and uncertainty. For the first time, the image of the all-powerful pharaoh began to crack. From this chaos emerged the Middle Kingdom, a period of renewal and reform beginning around 2055 BCE. Pharaohs of this era sought to restore unity by redefining kingship itself. Rather than presenting themselves solely as divine beings, they emphasized their role as just rulers and protectors of the people. Literature flourished, laws became more structured, and trade networks expanded beyond Egypt's borders. This era reflected a philosophical shift, an acknowledgement that power required responsibility. Egypt stabilized, but the illusion of divine invincibility had already begun to fade. The New Kingdom, spanning roughly 1550 to 1070 BCE, marked the height of Egypt's military, political, and cultural dominance. Egypt transformed into an empire, projecting its power far beyond the Nile Valley. Legendary rulers emerged during this golden age. Hatshepsut, one of history's most remarkable female leaders, ruled as pharaoh and oversaw a period of peace and prosperity, boldly challenging gender norms of her time. Akhenaten attempted a radical religious revolution, rejecting Egypt's traditional gods in favor of a single deity, Aten, an experiment that destabilized the empire and revealed the fragility of religious authority. Tutankhamun, though insignificant in life, became immortal in death when his nearly untouched tomb was discovered in the 20th century, reigniting global fascination with Egypt. Ramses II, often called Ramses the Great, embodied the classic image of the warrior pharaoh. He ruled for over 60 decades, waged massive military campaigns, and filled Egypt with colossal statues bearing his likeness. Under his reign, Egypt reached its symbolic peak, powerful, wealthy, and feared. Yet greatness carries within it the seeds of decline. After the New Kingdom, Egypt entered a long period of weakening authority. Internal corruption, economic instability, and religious conflicts eroded the foundations of pharaonic power. Foreign invaders, Assyrians, Persians, and eventually Greeks conquered Egypt, ruling it while preserving the title of pharaoh as a symbolic gesture rather than true authority. The pharaoh, once a god, had become a ceremonial figure under foreign rule. The final act of this ancient drama unfolded with Cleopatra VII, the last pharaoh of Egypt. A brilliant and politically astute ruler, Cleopatra inherited a kingdom overshadowed by Rome's growing dominance. Fluent in multiple languages and deeply aware of Egypt's legacy, she sought to preserve independence through strategic alliances with Julius Caesar and later Mark Antony. However, Rome's ambition proved unstoppable. Following her defeat by Octavian, Cleopatra chose death rather than submission. With her suicide in 30 BCE, Egypt became a Roman province, and the age of pharaohs came to an irreversible end. Yet the fall of the pharaohs did not erase their legacy. Their monuments still rise from the desert, defying time and decay. Their mummies still lie preserved, faces frozen between life and eternity. Their symbols, gods, and myths continue to influence art, religion, and popular culture across the world. The pharaohs sought immortality through stone and ritual, and though their empire vanished, their memory endured. The story of the pharaohs is ultimately a story of human ambition, the desire to conquer death, command destiny, and shape the universe itself. They ruled as gods, lived as kings, and died as men. And in their rise and fall, they left behind a timeless reminder. No matter how powerful a civilization becomes, time remains the greatest ruler of all.